afternoon. Welcome back to Weekend Edition. This is Rehash, where we recap some of the big stories of the week. And so, Crystal, you covered one of the big stories from the courts.
Oh, yeah. So, longtime University of Guam professor Dr. Michael Eller was sentenced in court this week. And that was 1.5 years in jail to be followed by 3 years parole. And actually, this is kind of a steal of a deal considering, one, he won't be heading to the Department of Corrections just yet. And two, he actually, in fact, faced up to 16 years behind bars. If you recall, earlier this year, he was convicted by a Superior Court jury, and they found him guilty of one, attempted sexual assault, attempted criminal sexual conduct for one female, and then sexual assault for the second female. But even though three women actually came out and accused him, but only, again, two convictions, two of those females were resulted in convictions. Again, 1.5 years behind bars with 3 years parole, but he won't be heading again to DOC just yet. He'll remain on house arrest because he's anticipated to make his appeal. And in court this week, he actually addressed the court, and it was very emotional for him. He actually started almost tearing up, and he said that, you know, he fully anticipates the day he'll be fully exonerated. He's not remorseful at all. He doesn't believe he did it. He's innocent in his eyes, so we'll see how this unravels.
Definitely remember watching that emotional story that you wrote earlier this week. And so, Val, what's the latest from the legislature?
So, Senator Fernando Esteves is now under, well, he may be under investigation. An ethics complaint has been filed against him with the Guam resident Barry Mead. So if you remember, September 23rd, I believe, there was a protest that happened in front of the Anderson Air Force Base, and Senator Esteves was there. He joined in a human chain blocking traffic, and the complaint stems from that. Mr. Mead believes that he should not have done that. There are better ways to protest what's happening. And for the record, Mr. Mead has said, I totally support the purpose of what's happening with the Latexan issue, but they could have protested a lot better. And so that investigation or that complaint will be forwarded to the Ethics Committee. And if you remember, KUAM also brought you, he's still under investigation with the Guam Army National Guard. He's a sergeant with the 1st 294th Infantry Battalion, and so he's under investigation, and so far they haven't uncovered the details with regard to that investigation at this time. So, unfortunate news. But.
As far as education, there's been a lot of back and forth between the Department of Education and the charter schools recently. So there were a lot of issues with the opening of schools, especially for one charter school in particular. And so this has brought on some concerns about the budget and financial accountability, also financial sustainability for at least one charter school which has over-enrolled and which may be facing some budget shortfalls next year. And so a work session was held between DOE and the Charter Council, and they discussed a lot of these concerns and possibly delinking their budgets, and also definitely implementing some more financial controls, because the charter schools receive roughly $8 million in public funds, but they're not really held to the same standards or the same mandates that DOE is held to. So DOE has an internal audit office. So we'll kind of see where these discussions go. I know Senator Joe San Augustine has introduced legislation that could help with some of these issues, but we'll have to see if that makes it to the floor. And so something we spend a lot of our time doing, social media. Asha.
Okay, so October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So for social media, more geared towards Facebook, we added a frame. So you can go on Facebook, go to your photo settings, and there's an add frame button. Just click on that. It's a Think Pink filter, so just add that to support your awareness.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks so much. Of course, if you have any news tips for us, just email us at reporters@kuam.com.